You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. This show is part 2 of a 2-part series about the non-physical dimension. We're going to be talking about practical ways to use the non-physical dimension that will make your life better. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Last week, we talked about the energy of our essence, which needs to escape from the physical world, well, by sleeping every day or every night. Don't sleep during the day. It makes the bosses really mad. We also talked about conspiracy theories connected to the non-physical dimension, which is the result of having our intuition blocked and corrupted by programming. Okay, Jason. So what are we going to talk about today?
So some more basics.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the idea that every living thing has a corresponding energy in the non-physical dimension. Now we talk about it as being up the non-physical dimension, but it's up down. It doesn't quite work that way. It doesn't really matter up down, wherever it is. But in the non-physical dimension, plants and animals and people have a corresponding energy.
Right.
We call the energy of human beings your soul. We call it essence.
Right.
And plants and animals also have, you call it a soul, you could call it just an energy connection.
Right.
So if, when we talk about clearing our dogs, we're not really clearing, doing something in the physical dimension. We're actually doing something in the non-physical dimension.
Yes, exactly.
But here's what's, so that's kind of ho-hum, but what's really big deal.
Okay.
The energies we talked about last week about how there's different rules, time and space are different.
Right.
All those things. We have the ability, we as human beings have the ability to affect those energies in the non-physical dimension, but we hardly ever utilize that ability, and it's amazing.
Well, and I want to jump in and say, when we use the ecosystem approach and we affect those energies in the non-physical dimension, we haven't really talked about how they actually affect us in this physical dimension. Everything happens in the non-physical dimension first. And
filters down to the
filters down, or as Jason uses it, trickles down. And some things we want to happen right away don't always get trickled down right away. I'll say it that way.
Exactly. So if you understand that we have this ability, we're not using it. It seems often to a lot of people like magic.
Yes.
Oh, we cleared for this, and then all of a sudden it happens.
Yes.
And
they go, oh my gosh.
And
yes.
What we're doing in the physical, and this is what programming does. There's a couple things that programming does. First of all, it says, essence, you don't have to have a job here anymore. Your job is obsolete.
In other words, you don't matter.
Right.
Okay.
And that energy in your essence doesn't like that. That's an understatement.
Yes.
It tells, programming tells you how to feel, think, act, behave, all those things.
Yes.
That's really the job of your essence. And if there's negative energy there that's making you think, feel, act, or behave in ways that are not functional, it likes to be cleared, but it doesn't like to be told, I I don't care what you say.
Yeah, you don't matter.
You don't matter.
Exactly.
You're going to do it this way.
Right.
And that's what programming does.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
from our perspective, when it comes to working with human beings,
Right.
programming and the way we're doing things now in our culture is just the effect. It's not the root, it's not the source,
Correct.
because the source is in the non-physical dimension.
Yes.
If you don't hear anything else today in our show, that's the most important thing, is that the source is always in the non-physical, and the expression of that energy,
Is in the
the
physical.
physical.
Right.
And so when that comes to healing, OMG, it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
It is. It really is.
So let's talk about that. Programming makes you numb and oblivious to all the things going on in your life. And
Yeah.
examples of that, and we've heard this for 20 years. A spouse walks out and the other one says, "I had no idea
I had no idea that you
you
were
were
so
so
unhappy,
unhappy,
or I
or
had no idea
that our relationship was
relationship.
so bad."
Yes.
That's because you've been programmed, and
Yes.
you're not listening up here in the non-physical. You're listening, you know
Or
um,
you're not listening.
you're not listening.
Yes, exactly.
Or the programming says, well, if this is happening, then everything's fine,
Exactly. Well,
which is really the case
like
in anything.
a relationship, husband, wife, things like that. But also, how about in a job? How many people have been fired and went, I had no idea. Why didn't somebody tell me I wasn't doing my job, or what I was
Performing,
doing?
or
Yes,
offending
exactly.
my boss so much all the
Exactly.
time.
Or offending my coworkers. Why didn't somebody tell me? And I have to tell you, oftentimes the people that say things like that, they've been told, but they couldn't hear it because of the programming in their own personal life, or the programming of their story,
Or the negative energy,
or the negative energy.
which blocks you from hearing those things.
Exactly.
Disease, and in this segment we're talking about health, more than anything else. But
Mhm.
disease doesn't start in the
Oh,
physical body.
right.
You don't manifest a tumor in your physical body just out of the blue.
Well, you don't go to the store and say, I'm going to buy a tumor today. I hope it fits right here.
It-
No, it doesn't work that way.
well,
And
and it's an emotional thing that happens in the non-physical dimension.
it happens, small, of course, and then it's, becomes larger and larger. What people don't realize is that if you, even if you have cancer right now, um, you can start clearing it now, and you can actually stop it. It's one of the most amazing things. We've seen this happen.
Cancer is always an expression of your emotional story.
That is correct.
And
Breast cancer is one of the biggest
yes,
ones, the ones that's out there the most.
it's an
It-
expression of
it-
something that's not right in terms of
exactly.
your life.
Exactly.
And some people say, well, it's about stress, it's about lifestyle. Those are the effects. The
Yes.
truth is, stress, at the essence, is where you're not listening to your essence
Right.
in the non-physical dimension.
Exactly.
That's a stress. People say it's being in traffic, or going to work,
Or having an abusive boss, or
yeah, all those things.
a bad relationship,
And those
things
things
like
can
that.
be stressful, but
Yes.
the actual stress
Exactly.
is up in the non-physical dimension.
Exactly.
So what's neat, when you go to the non-physical dimension to see and perceive what's going on, you can start to affect those energies directly. You
Well,
can go directly.
and
It-
this isn't about cancer, but you have a great story about that, about mom.
yeah, the other day, we take care of my 91-year-old mother, who's got dementia and can't hear. She has a
Yes,
cochlear implant, so
she's deaf.
she
Yes.
can she can make out words, but it takes a while for it to filter through it, and it's better than nothing. But the other day, you were talking to her, and all of a sudden she went blank. Her eyes were open,
Mhm.
but she was not responsive at all. And so what did we do?
Well,
We went to the non-physical dimension.
well, wait a minute. I just want to back up for 1 second. I basically said, Jason, should we call 911? Well, the answer is we've seen her do this before. And so Jason said, no, let's clear her first and see what happens. It was pretty cool.
We have what's known as a DNR, do not resuscitate.
Right.
So we know that 911, what are they going to do exactly, and what's the problem? What are they going to do? So we did what we do,
Right.
which is I started clearing the negative energy,
Right.
and I saw why she was getting depressed and she was
Right.
going in a certain direction, and I cleared that negative energy, and you started activating life force.
And within minutes, and I mean like 2, maybe 3 minutes, she started coming back. Within 5 minutes, she was completely responsive again and laughing,
Happy,
happy, you know? I mean, it was like, wow.
like nothing happened.
And I have to admit, both Jason and I went, wow, that's the best result we've ever had with that. It
Because it
was
was quick.
because it was
Usually that
quick.
takes a while to trickle
Yes, it
through.
does. It
But
does.
because she's got dementia and she's so empty as it is, we're
Right.
able to do that. And we've been doing it for a long time.
Well,
This wasn't the first time.
Exactly, and we clear her on a regular basis. In fact, even this morning, I activated life force energy for her. This is not something she can do for herself, but I activated life force for her, and she's been great. She's been great all day.
One of the biggest issues that people have that have cancer
Hmm.
is a reoccurrence.
Oh,
And
yeah,
those reoccurrences don't happen out of the blue.
not randomly. Yes,
The traditional medicine, they do it by scanning you every once in a while to
sure,
catch it,
sure.
but catching it doesn't really get it. It's an expression of your emotional story. Even if you go and um, do all those positive lifestyle things,
Yes,
the most powerful thing is going up and talking to the energy, talking to your essence,
yes,
clearing the negative stuff that caused the cancer in the first place,
correct.
and keep clearing it and keep clearing it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, are we ready for key points, Jason?
Yeah.
All right. So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Every living thing has a corresponding energy in the non physical dimension.
Mhm,
Humans have the ability to perceive and affect those energies, and programming makes you numb to those energies.
mhm.
Working with the negative energies of the non physical dimension for healing gives you a huge advantage.
Exactly.
And the ecosystem approach teaches you to have evolved consciousness for truly advanced healing and health.
Great. I love that. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how information and energies in the non physical dimension help with understanding and affecting interpersonal relationships. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how information and energies in the non physical dimension help with understanding and affecting interpersonal relationships. We are married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Sometimes I feel like I'm already living in a different dimension because I can see other people's motives and lies that they tell themselves. Jason, can you tell the audience how this can benefit them?
We just turned on the Hallmark channel for mom
Yes, we
while we
did.
do the show so she can be entertained. And in the Hallmark channel, it's always two people get together, and are they right for each other and not right for each other? And the
Right.
plot always says, it's typically the plot is they're going to marry someone else,
Else, and
and
then,
that they
yes,
figure out that that's not the right person and the other person's the right
yes.
person. Well, if you were using the ecosystem approach,
Mhm.
and I tell this to Hallmark all the time, if you're using the ecosystem approach and you were looking at the energies on the other side, you could have you would have much more clarity
Right,
about who you are, first of all, and the lies that you tell yourself, the
right,
motives that you have,
right,
and whether you want those motives, and if you don't, you clear them away,
right.
um, um, and and have a better sense of who you are and where you're going. Now, we don't work with that many couples. We worked with some over the years, but typically what happens is when they struggle, it's they're throwing negative energy that's coming through them, um, at each other,
That's correct.
that it's really not about their relationship.
Yes.
They'll say to us, "Well, he does this or she does that,"
Right.
and it makes me nuts. But typically, what's happening is they're taking negative energy that goes through um, each of them,
Mhm.
and they're acting as portals. So they become. Um, I'm not explaining this very well. The non-physical dimension is like a soap opera of motives and stories, and that are conscious and unconscious.
Okay.
So when we look at someone, we see how they present themselves, and they say to us, whether it's directly or indirectly, "This is who I am." But we look up here and say, "Okay." Um, we
Wait a minute.
look.
I need you to back up. In the physical dimension, your
Yes.
first you said
Yes.
non-physical.
Okay,
I want to
thank you.
correct
Yeah,
that.
yes.
Okay.
In the physical dimension, we see who they are, and they
Right.
typically have a what we call a PR presentation about,
That's
"This is who I
correct.
am,
Yes.
and this is what you can
By
expect
the
from
way,
me."
all of us actually have this. This is how in that PR that we have, we present it to the world, whether we're going to the grocery store, going to the job, going to a gym, or even just at home.
So, evolved consciousness, which is a term we've used before,
Yes.
is allow and refined intuition allows you to see um, what's going on up here,
Meaning in the
especially the motives.
exactly in the non-physical dimension.
What we see the most is that people allow negative energy to come through themselves,
Oh yeah.
and in ways that are hurtful.
Right.
But their motive is not in their motive or their intention is not to do that.
Well, and I just want to jump in and say that when we're talking about um, negative energies coming through someone, number one, most of us are programmed that that's okay for someone else to do. No, it's not.
Well, what we're programmed is that we're supposed to act a certain way,
Yes.
and what happens is that these negative energies come through
Yes.
and creates behaviors and actions
Correct.
that are invisible to us
Yes,
but visible to everybody else around
that
us,
is correct.
whether it's annoying habits or tone of voice,
Hmm.
or just being critical at the absolutely wrong time,
Exactly.
or being judgmental, or
Hmm.
having a look.
Uh-huh.
You know, married couples are really good about, "Oh, I know that look." They can have this whole conversations without saying anything.
Exactly.
So, what we're talking about is when you can have this refined consciousness and enhanced intuition, you can go to the other side and say, "Okay, I can see what those motives are."
And by the way, the other side is that
Non-physical
non-physical dimension.
dimension.
I just want to make sure we're clear about that.
So my mother's a good example.
Perfect.
We know her intention. She loves us. She loves us both. She would do
Truly.
anything for us. She would
Mhm.
she would walk through fire for us.
She would.
That's her intention.
Mhm.
But the reality is that she is so vacant that negative energy comes through her all the time
Right.
to us, and we're constantly clearing it, deflecting it.
Right.
Um,
Even fighting with it when one of us isn't paying attention.
so, an example of that is we're about to come on the show.
Yes.
It was a long time. Something would always happen to mom right before the show.
And not a bad thing, but something where it
She's looking
required
for something, or she falls, or she's
exactly,
starting to
exactly,
bleed, or she's,
exactly. And it's one
she's
of those
obsessing
things.
about something.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
that's negative energy, and we've been clearing it, and that's happened hasn't happened.
In quite a while.
Yeah.
In quite a
So
while.
these things, we're prepared for them, and we happen we able to see the motive, and that's
Exactly.
what's important. People come to us all the time and say, "This bad behavior from this person that's close to me, whether it's a family member or a loved one or just someone
Correct.
in their orbit." And for them, they think of it in terms of, well, I should let that person in my life, or should I reject them?
Right.
But we see it much differently, because what we're saying to you is that, um, because we're programmed, all this negative energy comes through us to the outside world, and it's unknown to us because we're unconscious.
Right.
So when we talk about evolved consciousness, the more you use the ecosystem approach and the more consciousness you have, you're able to understand those negative energies as they come through,
Well,
and then do something about it.
exactly. Let's use an example of motives. Motives are, they're not concrete. They're not, they're
They're
not,
energies.
they're energies. You can't put your finger on it, so to speak. And when we're connecting with someone whose motive, um, jealousy is a really good example, whose motive is to get in our way, or someone's way, I should say it that way. Um, then if you use the ecosystem approach and you have an understanding and you can see what's going on, you can clear that with no more than a breath.
A great example.
Okay.
Um, all the people that are trained, clergy, ministers,
Hmm.
priests, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, nurses, doctors, people who should have it together.
Well, they say they do.
We see, and we've seen this for years, that they don't.
I know.
And it's because what they're doing is programming themselves to act the way they're supposed to. But up here, it's not taken care of. In fact, sometimes it's worse. And
Hmm.
sometimes when you have someone who presents themselves as a social worker, or as a helping person, and they have these bad motives that are coming through them, it can be an awful experience.
Exactly, especially the one who's for the one who's receiving it, and that's not a good thing.
People struggle to kind of net that out. Another example,
Okay.
where we used to work, the
Hmm.
COO,
Hmm.
he was awful. I thought he was awful,
He
but I
was.
remember the woman from HR one time said to me, "Well, I've seen this good behavior over here, so therefore I can see that he's got some humanity," which he did. He had some humanity, but what we struggle with in this world today, because we don't see in the non-physical, we don't have evolved consciousness,
Right.
we take people at face value and we can't figure it out.
Right.
We don't see the their true motives, or what they could do to us
Exactly.
or do with us, if we didn't put up some sort of boundary or able to work with that negative energy.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um. Go ahead.
There's one more, and this
Okay.
is, I think, is really important.
Okay.
There's a mixing of energy. So when you're unconscious,
This is huge.
when you don't have evolved consciousness, that happens with drugs and alcohol. You become an empty vessel for this negative energy come through. So
Hmm.
you have bad behavior when you're on drugs or alcohol. When you
Exactly.
have compulsive behaviors,
Same thing.
often that's negative energy loves
Right.
compulsive
Well, and
behaviors.
here's one most people wouldn't understand. The other ones, I think,
Yeah.
a lot of people get, but
Yes.
the rituals that people do every single day, um, we don't see often where the first off, where the motives are, but also we don't see the negative energy there.
We see a ritual that this ritual is supposed to be good.
Yes,
So therefore, it's we just take it at face value.
exactly.
But a great example,
This
in
is a good one.
well, new age, there's drumming, and there's those types of things.
Sure.
There's religious rituals that we have that they must be good because they're they've been sanctified, quote unquote.
Exactly.
And a lot of times we see churches and things like that aren't, that a lot of negative energy happening.
Well, and
But the most common one, which
there
is
we
what I'm
go.
getting to,
Yes.
is Christmas and Super Bowl. Is those are Christmas. We all love Christmas, and the Super Bowl is a happy time when people get
Well,
together. And
those are the supposed tos.
yes,
Those,
yes,
but how many people use really negative energy? And that's, I'm not asking for an amount, but so many people use Christmas and the Super Bowl as a way to drink, abuse not only themselves, but to abuse their partners as well. Those two holidays, so to speak, Super Bowl, it's not really a holiday, but you know what I mean. Um, they say that it
there's
has the
spousal. Yes,
highest rate of spousal abuse in and any other time than any other time
we
in the year.
we've had so many people come to us and not wanting to be with their family on Christmas because they feel abused.
Exactly, exactly. I have one more, and this is the most, all of us do this almost every day. How about family dinner?
Oh yeah,
Family dinner. So many people are abusive at the dinner table, or there's rules. There's these rituals of rules about, tell me about your day. Okay, that's fine. But if your day wasn't as high in energy as the one next to you, you can be abused for that. that sort of thing, or
Shaming can happen at the dinner table.
exactly.
There can be a way for the parent to get attention from his kids,
or even the
she,
brothers and
yeah,
sisters doing the
yes.
same thing. So we're running out of time in this segment. Jason, what are the key points?
The non-physical dimension gives us access to our own motives and other people's motives.
Mm-hmm.
Most people do not want to see their own motives. They would rather lie to themselves.
Correct.
The evolved consciousness, refined intuition gives you access and the ability to interpret other people's motives and actions.
Mm-hmm.
And the ecosystem approach teaches you to see past the lies you
Mm.
tell yourself and helps you function with all that negative energy.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about our vision for the possibilities where we embrace the non physical dimension and the understanding and information that is contained there. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about our vision for the possibilities where we embrace the non physical dimension and the understanding and information that is contained there. We're married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Okay, Jason, what if we believe that many people that are here to mold our attitude and abilities and make ourselves into something special? Who makes a difference in the world? I'm not quite clear on what you mean here.
Well, most people believe that we're here to mold our attitude and abilities to make a difference.
Yes.
It's up to
Okay.
us. We have to mold it.
Ah,
We have to make
yes.
ourselves do that.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
programming,
Yes, it is.
and what we're saying is really kind of contrary to that, and a lot of people struggle with it.
Yes, they do.
They just struggle to even believe that that works. But for us, this process, that if you're into programming,
Yes.
positive attitude, I'm gonna have a positive attitude.
Right.
I'm gonna hit the world running. I'm gonna
Yes.
make a splash. Here I come, world.
Right.
Most movies that are inspirational have that kind of, say, against all odds,
Yes.
I forced it, and I pushed myself, and I
Right.
drove myself
Right.
until I got this. And we're saying, that doesn't
No.
work.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's not how we're designed.
it's not.
It's not that we're trading opinions.
Mm-hmm.
When we look in the non-physical dimension, as we've developed our refined intuition and evolved consciousness,
Right.
we see the way human beings are designed, and we're not designed
Mm-hmm.
to um, push ourselves, drive ourselves. We're
Right.
designed to uncover who we are, and then when we get to that natural part of ourselves, that authentic part of ourselves,
Right.
we don't have to push that. We don't have to drive that. We don't have to be bold. It just happens naturally.
It is, and when it's uncovered by using the ecosystem approach, it's an awesome thing that happens.
Now, if this speaks to you, if you get this
Mm-hmm.
little to chink inside, or this, yeah, this is
Okay.
this is what I've been waiting for, go to our website right now,
Mm.
theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But there was a great example of this.
Okay.
We had an engineer who was very successful,
Mm-hmm.
came to us, and he wanted to have meaning in his life. He wanted to be happy. He
Okay.
wasn't happy.
Okay.
Well, what did he do? He took all these spiritual things. He did meditation. He created an altar. He was doing Tai Chi and yoga and all these other things, and he pushed himself and he drove himself
Right.
in a programming way to be more spiritual. It doesn't work that way. You can't program yourself into being more spiritual. We
Right.
see a lot of our peers in the new age
Oh yeah.
energy. They advocate for a form of programming yourself to become more spiritual, and it doesn't work that way.
Well, and one of the things that it just really gets me is when somebody says, "Well, you're not loving enough. You're not, you
Yeah.
have to love everything. You have to love
Oh,
your
that's a big one.
enemies.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I immediately want to go like this because I know, because I can see, because of my evolved consciousness, I can see the other side, and I can see that is not true. What that's doing is ignoring, discounting, and pushing aside the negative energies that you need to deal with.
We talked about it in the last segment. It's a form of lying to yourself.
Oh, it's totally
And we see that love energy doesn't remove the negative energies in the
not at
non-physical
all, not
dimension.
at all,
And
not at
what
all.
we do in the ecosystem approach, and we'll talk about that in just in a second here,
Right,
about how to clear. We always are very, very specific. So the more
right.
specific you are, the
Yes.
better off you clean out the non-physical dimension.
Right, right,
And
right.
so if someone comes and says, "What if I just don't believe this stuff?" Well, it's because you've been programmed,
Mm-hmm.
and you just need more time.
Right.
Keep watching. We invite you to try this, and that's why we do clearings on every single show, because we
Exactly.
give you like a taste of it, a sample of what
Yes.
clearing is all about. It's not We're not asking you to do any sort of new agey ritual
No, not at
or
all.
behavior that's strange, or we're not going to suggest to you that you have to follow us
Right.
or make
Yeah.
us the
Good one.
guru. We're showing you how to do it for yourself.
Exactly.
But here's what I'm excited about in this segment:
Okay.
the age of Aquarius. Now, I know a lot of the conspiracy theories, we talked about that in the last show,
We did.
have about a new age is coming, and they frame it like a new age is coming, and you just have to wait and wait long enough,
And
and
it'll happen for
it
you.
will happen to you and for you.
Yes.
Yes. We know that that's not true, but we see the age of Aquarius as an energy age
Mhm.
that creates the conditions if you choose to take it. And the ecosystem approach is the first step in that choice, by starting to remove the negative energies that's attached to your essence, so that you can be who you came here to be
Exactly.
authentically.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
if that gives you a little hit, go to our website right now and sign up for that free section. But let's talk about the key points, and then we'll talk about tell people how to clear.
I just want to say I had a point that I was going to make about the love thing, and we'll come back to it when I remember it. So, Jason, what are the key points of
Okay.
this segment?
Not everybody's able to believe that programming is a problem because of programming.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for those who have that little voice within that can feel the difference with clearing.
Yes.
You'll know it when it happens to you.
Yes.
The ecosystem approach has the ability to change the world starting on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
to create cooperation for positive change. And the ecosystem approach helps heal the rot from the inside, so you can create huge change for yourself in the world.
I love that. I love that. So I don't remember about the love thing, so I'll come up with it in a
Okay.
minute. Jason, let's teach those who either don't know how to clear because you're listening to the show for the first time, or even for those who do know how to clear. Go ahead and
It's a
tell them how to do
very
this.
simple process. As we said earlier, those clearing statements,
Mhm.
we have those every week. We send them to you in our newsletter. We have
Yes.
the clearings in our newsletter, and all the words are written out for you.
Yes.
So if you don't remember them now, you can get them there.
That's okay
Again,
too.
go to
Yes.
our website, theecosystemapproach.org.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. So you can sit, stand, lay down. You can be walking. You can be running.
Mm-hmm.
You can. The physical posture is not important. A lot of people use a ritual.
Yes.
They do the lotus position.
Right.
No rituals here, because we know that we want this to be good energy.
Yes. Exactly.
So just when we say "and to eliminate," gather up what we say to eliminate, whether it's an emotion, barriers, veils, and illusions.
Mhm.
Those are things that we commonly say to eliminate, and gather them up. Blow them into the processor. Jacob's putting an image of the processor up now,
Mhm.
and that processor exists in the non-physical dimension,
Yes. Exactly.
and it goes
Although
in the top, and it
exactly.
comes out the front, processed so that it's neutral energy.
Exactly. And think of it this way. When you throw negative energy into that processor, you're helping the environment, meaning your own personal environment, and maybe the guy next to you, if that's
You're
possible.
getting rid of negative energy.
You are getting rid of negative energy.
And this, I don't know if this is your point, but love can be a negative energy.
That was you did it. Thank you, Jason. It can be, because people use it as a manipulation and
Sometimes it can be a club. I love you, so you have to do what I say.
exactly. Yeah, big club. Anyway, so then after we do the clearing, what we're going to do is we're going to activate life force energy. Life force energy is the most powerful energy that any of us has access to. And this energy, what we do is we call upon it. We ask it to come in through the top of our head, let it go all the way down our physical body to the tips of our toes. And we turn it around because we want to stop it. We don't want to put negative energy into the ground. What we want to do is we want to put negative energy into the processor. So we stop that negative energy, and then we have that life force energy help us lift more negative energy out and throw it away into that processor. That processor is one of the best things ever, ever, ever created. So, anything else we want to say at the moment?
We're going to do clearings in the next segment.
We're going to do
Stay
clearings.
tuned.
And yes,
Hold on. Yeah, fasten your seatbelt.
so stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you start to go inward and have access to the non-physical dimension. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. Wow. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you get started to go inward and have access to the non-physical dimension. So, Jason, you ready to get started?
So here's a practical application of the clearing. We're going to start. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate any nervousness that Patricia has, because we're hearing thunder in the background.
Right.
Now, I grew up in the Midwest, and there was thunder and lightning all the time. But
I did not.
It's very rare up here. We're outside of Yosemite, and it's one of those mountain storms, global warming.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Exactly. So
take a breath. For anybody that has nervousness about thunder, blow it into the processor.
Exactly.
Right now.
Oh, he's talking to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. So go ahead.
And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that my ability to heal and to see other people's motives resides in the non-physical dimension. Take a breath. Clear those barriers.
And to eliminate the false belief that I can see other people's motives just by looking at how they act, when that's not the truth at all.
You have
Take
to look
a breath.
at the energy.
Yes.
And to eliminate the feelings of anger, hate, rage, and bitterness about those other people's motives, and when I see them too late.
Yes.
You know, we've all got these. I thought they were a nice guy, and they weren't.
And but when you use the ecosystem approach, you can actually do something about it. So nice and easy. Take a breath, everybody. And to eliminate the feelings of fear and hurt and shame that I have because of the negative energy in my essence that I don't want. Get rid of it.
Yes.
And don't let the fear and hurt and shame keep it there. Take a breath and throw it into that processor.
And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see the negative energies attached to me, so that I can clear them.
Yes.
And you do that with refined intuition. Take a breath.
And how you get that is by using the ecosystem approach and clearing. And to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see the natural way is the ecosystem approach. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the feelings of fear and terror that block me from refined intuition and real clarity.
Take a breath. And to eliminate all the hurt and depression and shame I have that distracts me from my evolved consciousness. You don't need it. Throw it away.
Any anger I have about being held back because of the negative energies of the non-physical, which chances aren't my fault, and I didn't give them permission to be there, but they're there,
and
so
they don't serve
them.
me. Clear them right now. Take a breath and blow them out. And to eliminate my feelings of resistance and bitterness and anger about any anti-programming messages. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the false belief that I can get to evolve consciousness with shortcuts and false profits.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
And those usually come with programming attached to them.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that not all energy programs are the same. Many use what? Programming. You don't need more programming, you
To
need
get rid of
less.
programming,
Yes, exactly. Take a breath.
And to eliminate any numbness or blocks I have to the energy forces in my life. I can clear those. I don't have to be a
Excellent.
victim to them.
Exactly.
Take a breath.
And I can clear my fear of the lightning again and the thunder again. And to eliminate the barriers to my clarity about the negative energy in my essence that blocks me. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that I have all I need in life using the ecosystem approach and my essence to uncover my essence.
And to uncover the negative energies in my
Yes.
essence. Take a breath, everyone. Good one. Now I'm going to activate life force for all of us. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy, the most powerful energy in the world that any of us has access to. So I can be happy and healthy and strong and have the clarity and awareness and objectivity that I need and want starting right now. Nice and easy. Have it come in, top of your head, let it go all the way down your torso and to the tips of your toes. Remember, stop it right there. Turn it around. Use that powerful energy. Blow out, and both of you blow out any negative energy that's left.
And to activate life force so I can trust that clearing negative energies in the non-physical can give me all the advantages I need in the world.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Pull it in. All the tips of your toes, blow it out. And to activate life force so I can decide to use all of me, especially in the non-physical dimension, to have the power in the world that I need and want today. Nice and easy. Top of your head, blow out any negative energies. And the last one, and to activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and have fun and laughter and love, but also have that clarity, awareness, and objectivity that I need and want so I can see and know that I can use the ecosystem approach to get through life easily. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
Okay. This is one of my favorite shows. And this is, we
Okay.
haven't done this before, but I really enjoyed it. It's Life Misconceptions.
Okay.
So, talking about the non physical dimension, when you look at the non physical dimension, you see the motives, you see what's true and what's not true in ways that you wouldn't otherwise.
Okay.
So when we say that we have real insight because we're intuitive, it's not because we're looking at some sort of weird crystal ball. It's we have the ability to use our evolved consciousness and refined intuition to see what's going on.
Right.
And oh, by the way, you will too
when you start using it.
The ecosystem approach.
So listen to the show next week. This is going to be fun, and I guarantee you that we'll make you laugh at least once or twice on this one. So join us next week. Jason, why is the ecosystem approach so important for me personally and for everyone in the audience?
There's someone out there right now who's got this little nudge going on.
Okay.
Who's feeling this
right.
these little tickle, like, yeah, this is what I've been waiting for.
Right.
This is, I've always been waiting for something, and I know this is it.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
Go to our website right now, the ecosystemapproach.org.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up for our free section. You have to do that. That's what makes it. If you want to really try this out,
mm-hmm.
listen to our show every week. Do the clearings in between shows,
and sign up for that free section so you can get the clearings on your phone.
Yes, yeah, it comes as an email, as
exactly
a weekly newsletter, and do those clearings,
mm-hmm.
and it's all free.
Okay,
we're not charging you for anything. So
right.
so go there, do that now, try it out.
Yeah.
Understand how this energy work can feel. Now, some people they feel it right away. Some people it takes a day. Some
Right.
people,
Hey,
it's different for everybody.
exactly, because we're all unique.
And if you
So
want to see our show
there you go.
as a video, go to Facebook, our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org, and the
Okay.
videos are all there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch them, or you can go to our website and listen to the podcast, the recorded its audio.
Okay. And one more time, Jason, what is that email address for Facebook?
Theecosystemapproach.org on Facebook.
Okay. All right. So, everyone, I want you to know I really enjoyed the show this week, and the thunder and lightning is still going on, and I'm actually still upright, so I'm not under the bed. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.